I'll start with this. Always have to scale your responsibilities to your capabilities. Okay? So what that means is...
This is Blair Durham with Black Wall Street Today, your media hub for all things Black entrepreneurship, politics, news, and events in Hampton Roads and beyond.
When I say black, y'all say Wall Street. Black
Wall Street.
Black Wall Street. When I say black, y'all say Wall Street. Black.
And now, here's your host, Blair Durham.
Greetings.
Welcome. It's the 88th edition of Black Wall Street Today with Blair Durham. Super excited to share with you all. Today is Volume 3 in our Best in Black Business series. So we're responding to your requests for information about businesses that you can support. Speaking of, be sure to download the Black Brand app available on Apple and Android platforms for a complete directory of businesses. We're adding businesses actually every day. There are travel companies, there's a watch company, there are restaurants, which you all ask about quite a bit. There are water companies, financial services companies, realtors, makeup artists, consultants, and more. So very, very excited about being able to offer that and provide deals that you can only find on the Black Brand app. Again, it is available on Apple and Android platforms. So it's a free download. I encourage you to download it today. We do have some super special guests here. Very excited. We'll have Mr. Prescott Sherrod with us. First, he has over 25 years experience as a business owner providing IT and IM, as well as logistics solutions and services to federal, state, and commercial customers. PEMCCO, as I mentioned, is an information technology and information management firm. It's committed to preparing today's businesses for tomorrow's challenges by offering a highly skilled and diverse staff motivated by customer success and satisfaction. Prescott has also served and continues to serve various community interests at local and state levels through appointments as well as volunteer efforts. So welcome to the show, Prescott. How are you?
I'm doing well, Blair. Thanks for inviting me. This sounds like it's going to be exciting.
It is, and I'm sorry I butchered your name there. You were practice.
Okay. I've been called worse.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have you on. I would that you would just kind of give us even more insight into your world. It's not every day that we get to talk with someone who has such extensive government contracting experience, such longevity. So share with us, what's it like, a day in the life of Prescott?
Wow. That's a pretty open-ended, loaded question. But, I can give you a long answer or I can give you a very, very short answer. Why don't I start with a very, very short answer?
Okay.
What I do with running and managing two businesses, one being a government contracting, federal and state, and the other being a logistics firm providing delivery service support. My quick answer is I'm a void finder and a gap filler.
Void finder and gap filler. I like that.
So now what that means is as I manage these organizations, I have a team of people, great people. There's no way I could do this successfully at all without a solid team. And around that team, you have to build a culture. And we're really, really huge on culture. So I have to actually tell these guys or my team members that all the time I tell them, I say, guys, I work for you. So you guys have to tell me what you need to be successful. It is my job to fill that void, if you will.
I like that psychology, that philosophy of I work for you. I don't know how popular that is, but it certainly makes a lot of sense to me in terms of your leadership philosophy.
Well, it works for us. It works for me because again, realizing that both PEMCCO and PEMCCO Logistics are service-based organizations, there's no way I can have a business without having the tools, resources, human capital, to execute those services. So if I don't treat the people well, then I don't have a business. I can't provide any services because we are service-based business.
It makes sense. So now, is your background in IO psychology, business management? Where do you kind of enter this space from?
Okay, so now you want me to go back a little bit.
A little bit.
Well, as you mentioned, well, actually, I don't think you did mention. Well, my background starts out from an education perspective at HBCU, Virginia State University, Trojans.
Awesome. Okay.
Shout out, right?
Hampton, don't be mad. Go ahead.
That's okay. We're the HBCU. We are all the same family, one love. But so that's where I started out. And my background, my education background is information technology, engineering technology as a major. Okay.
Engineering technology. Okay.
Yes. And I got a master's degree in engineering management from George Washington University.
Nice.
So taking those things, if you will, not they didn't come back to back. It was like maybe about 7-8 years or so, something like that, between the two. I went to work for a defense contractor in Norfolk, in the city of Norfolk.
Okay.
Back in so many years ago. And as a defense contractor, that's where I learned how to design and implement, install, shipboard, supply or computer systems. Anything, for the most part, anything had electrons flowing through it. Was lighting systems, electrical systems of ventilation. So, at that time, there were two of us engineers at that office. And one was mechanical and the other was electrical, and I was the electrical guy. In fact, I was actually a design engineer, a part of the design engineering team. I was the lead for the very first network, peer-to-peer, on a U.S. vessel, Navy carrier ship, back in the mid to late 80s.
Oh.
So that... Cool. Yeah, so that got me into the technology, that got me into the DOD, and then from there became some Army-related work, and then some other DOD-related types of services. So that's how that started.
I got it.
As a defense contractor.
Okay. And then you jumped in, and it appears that you love it. I've got to ask you this, though, because so many of us are hearing that if we really are going to scale our businesses, take our businesses to the next level, and develop something sustainable, we're going to need to have the government as a customer. So what would you say in terms of advice for those new to government contracting, or maybe those seeking a government contract for the first time? What kind of insight could you offer?
Good question. So again, these things that work for us as a company, first and foremost, I'll start with this. Always have to scale your responsibilities to your capabilities. Okay? Mm-hmm. So what that means is, you are trying to get into in this particular case, say the DOD or any type of contract arrangement or business arrangement. Well, you got to understand, number one, and I'm going to go backwards here. You got to understand what your capabilities are first.
Yeah.
Okay, and your skill set. You got to understand that first. All right, and then applying discipline to that approach, you got to understand what your responsibilities are associated with trying to achieve that. So too often people scale their responsibilities not necessarily to their capabilities, but to their desires, to their needs, to their wants. But you got to be you got to be ready to execute. You got to be ready to perform. You got to have all the resources that you know that you need to execute. All right, now those resources, I would tell you, could be not only just the skill sets that I was speaking of, those capabilities I was speaking of, but you got to understand that you can't, and this is what we understood, we can't do all this by ourselves. There's no way we could have been successful by ourselves. And I'm not talking about just the internal success or the people that are working with the organization, but you got to have resources outside. You got to have those external resources. You got to have something that I like to call sort of enduring, successful partners.
Yeah.
Okay? You have to have enduring, successful resources within your organization, meaning teammates.
Okay.
And you have to have enduring, successful customers. Actually,
enduring, successful partners, teammates, and customers. Man, you're teaching a class. I'm writing everything down. This is great. Go ahead.
Well, I say successful because I usually use the word successful interchangeably. I say successful, but because that's what we're ultimately trying to achieve. But you can very easily replace that word successful with valued. And maybe so in other words, with this example, it'll be enduring, valued customers.
Yeah.
Teammates and partners. Okay?
Yeah.
So again, at the end of the day, when you think about it, I want to give you a graphic here.
Okay.
When you think about those three things that I just talked about, they're like three circles. And those three circles can make what's called a Venn diagram at the intersection of all of them.
Yeah.
And in the middle of those three circles, that's where you find the success, if you have those three circles.
I can dig that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and there could be further breakdown in that. When you talk about your partners, basically, if you're starting an organization, you need a good lawyer, you need a good banker, you need a good CPA. First and foremost. All right.
Yeah, it's funny. We hear that, but that's not something we've been as diligent about making certain that we have, at whatever the cost is, particularly for that lawyer and that CPA, right? We need those things. We can't go without those things. So I just wanted to highlight that. Go on.
Yeah, it is kind of tough. I know when we first started the business, back in the 90s, the engineering firm, we had a CPA. And actually, the CPA that we had at the time was met through friends. Okay. She had a small, very good, very, very, very smart, very, very hardworking, and helped us out a great deal. And that goes back to the other point I made about the earlier point, scaling your responsibilities to your capabilities.
Yeah.
Well, she served us so well and got us ready for the next level. The only thing is, when we started really taking off and going into heavy into the DoD, defense contracting area, she didn't have the defense contracting background and understanding.
Right.
So, but she got us out of the blocks, though, helping us set up our books and, helping us to understand billing and all that stuff. Those are valuable things. We would never gotten off the ground if we didn't have her. So I appreciate her as of today. And that was honestly, that was probably almost 25 years ago. So,
wow.
But so what we had to do was, next, we had to find a CPA, and a CPA that understood the direction that we were headed. So we're scaling now. We're scaling.
Yeah.
We had to find one that could help us with that, and we did, and then we started expanding, and so like today we probably have we have a tax CPA, we have a
team, a CPA.
Yes, a team. A tax CPA, we have a government contracting CPA. So we have two basically CPAs right now to understand the space in which we're working, and also understand what Uncle Sam is looking for. So those things are very important.
Yeah, they're huge. Okay. So scale your responsibilities to your capabilities, not your desire, right? Make sure you have the internal as well as external resources. Is there anything else you would share there?
About the resources?
No, just about, in general, advice for new government contractors, those looking to break into relationships. Understanding relationships. Most of the time, when you're first trying to break into the government contracting world, it's tough. It's tough. You're not going, it's not impossible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but likely you start your process, you get into, you start bidding on work, or you find out about some potential, small programs that are sole source or limited sourcing. Sometimes it's tough to get those, and because you may not have the
past performance, which is very, very critical. You may not have the past performance that is desired by the customer might be looking for. But the way to get that past performance is to partner. Partner with a larger business. And key to partner with large businesses, not only you're going to have to understand and that you have to bring something to the table in terms of capability. All right.
Partner for past performance. I like that. Bring something to the table. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to bring something to the table here because, that's why relationships and develop those relationships are critical. I would say that for us, what helped us out in the very beginning was developing and building those relationships, getting an opportunity. Now, you're going to get the no's. They're going to come out there. I mean, when we first started, I remember the first time I put together a brochure, and I went to this prime contract, a big company. They sat me down in a big conference room, and all of their, the technical people, the management people, a few around the table. I passed out my brochure. They looked at it, and they looked back at me, and they said, "Oh, we can do what you do. Why do we need you?"
Wow.
This actually happened. Well, I'm just getting started here now. Well, my response was, well, yeah, that's true. I know you guys can do what we do and what my company does and what I do, because it was pretty much a company of me and maybe a couple of part-time people.
Okay.
I said, but it's not anything. It's not because of anything having to do with our capabilities or your capabilities. It has much to do with the customer that we're pursuing. We, as government contractors, we tailor our capabilities and our skill sets to what that customer needs. So if we all are pursuing the same customer and the customer has his need, then likely we're going to stage our skill sets, our capabilities, and speak to any past performance that we have that is of interest and of need to that customer. So,
makes sense.
In my opinion, in my mind, I'm thinking, which makes your statement that, well, I can do what you do. It keeps it true, but understanding why is it true. It ain't because you're any better than I am or we are and so forth and so on. It's because we're pursuing the same customer.
Right. Makes sense. Man, if you've just tuned in, this is Blair Durham with Black Wall Street Today, having a fascinating conversation now about government contracting with Prescott Sherrod, the great. Man, we've got only about 2.5 minutes remaining. I want to ask you this question because I think it's relevant. How have you navigated the COVID-19 crisis? How have you sort of managed to stay afloat in terms of business?
Well, we've been impacted. We try to minimize the impact as best we can. Sometimes we've had between the two companies, we've been hit by from a medical perspective. We've been hit from that perspective. We've been hit from the mere fact that the pandemic exists and projects were shut down. So what we did was we looked at, of course we take a look at all of the opportunities that are available, the assistance that the federal government is providing. I'm sure everybody probably knows about the payroll protection programs and the EIDL's economic disaster loan programs. Well, we looked at all of those and we actually pursued them, and actually we received funds. And even though in some cases we felt like, maybe we don't need this or what have you, because we were evaluating, but we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know once the dominoes started falling if we were going to get hit by them, and we did. And it's a good thing we did, because we were able to keep our guys going, especially in the case where there were some medical issues where we had personnel that had to quarantine or be out for a few weeks. I tell you this, Blair, it was the best feeling ever, and I want to thank the programs that were in place to allow for this. For us to say to the individuals that, hey, don't even worry about it. You just focus on getting well. We got you. You don't worry about your income. Don't worry about any of those things. You need to worry and focus on getting yourself better and getting back to work. It's the greatest feeling.
Love that story. Not many of our businesses have been able to really access the PPP because most of our businesses don't have payroll. And so to hear that was something that you were able to take advantage of and that it worked out well for your staff, I think that's phenomenal. Yeah, we've got just a minute or so remaining. Do you have any opportunities that you'd like to share in terms of hiring that you may be doing or anything like that?
Well, currently on the engineering side, I would say no, not now. Things are kind of slow or just maintaining, I should say.
Yeah.
But I will say on the logistics side, and like we didn't take a deep dive in it, on the logistics side, and I talked about delivery service provided, it's Amazon delivery service. I'm sure everybody's seeing all these Amazon things rolling around here. We're constantly looking for drivers. We are constantly looking for drivers.
Okay.
So
how can we... Yeah, can you share an email address or a website with us for those that might be listening and interested in those opportunities?
Well, I would tell you, if anybody's interested and they have a resume or something, you don't have to be any long drawn out, a bunch of years experience, whatever. You can send that resume to PLS@PLSLLC-VA.com.
Wait a minute. PLS. One more time, because I want to make sure I highlight it again at the end of the show.
Sure. PLS@PLSLLC-VA.com. PLS@PLSLLC-VA.com.
Is
Exactly.
that right? All right.
Yes.
Perfect.
21 years of age. You got to have a valid driver's license. Hopefully be able to lift about 50 pounds of a package.
Okay.
Be able to pass a criminal background check, a DMV background check, and then drug screening.
Okay. Awesome. Man, our time is out. Prescott, we have to have you back on the show here, I don't know, third quarter, fourth quarter. You've got such insight, and I know that, this is the kind of content that our listeners crave in terms of someone with experience that they're trying to gain, right? So I'll invite you back, and I want to thank you so much.
Excellence is being able to perform at a high level for a long period of time.
The next level success is just a step away. Stay tuned. Black Wall Street Today will be right back after a word from our underwriting sponsors.
Hey, this is Seiko, DJ Seiko Varner, the producer of this podcast. So when I'm not producing podcasts, I'm actually DJing wedding receptions, corporate events, proms, other formals, and I would love to take care of your special event. So our company is Positive Vibes Incorporated, www.positivevibes.net. That's www.positivevibes.net. We've been performing for over 25 years, and we would love to bring our expertise and our fun to your special event. Positive Vibes Incorporated, www.positivevibes.net. Peace and prosperity.
When the conversation is good and the friends are even better, you'll find a wine that brings it all together. Shoe Crazy Wine. Remember that name. Shoe Crazy Wine. Available at Costco, Kroger, and these other fine retailers.
We know you love jazz music, so let's try some jazz music with a little R&B flavor.
Baby, baby, I'm falling in love. You got me falling in love. You made me falling in love.
What about some jazz music with a little trap flavor? Jazz and Caribbean. Hey, we mix it up. So, online, look for Grandpa Crunk and enjoy the great jazz music. Grandpa Crunk. Jazz music.
And now, more Black Wall Street Today with Blair Durham on Smooth 88.1 WHOV.
Welcome back. It's the last segment of the 88th edition of Black Wall Street Today with Blair Durham. Again, we're focused on the best in black businesses. So excited to feature now Miss Gabrielle Riggins. She is a local Hampton Roads mompreneur, of two, who believes in building wealth through multiple streams of income. Her LLC, Jayden's Jurni, houses her blog and author platform, The Mental Mama, a dessert business, Sweet Journey in a Jar, and a candle business, Nuri Lamar Candle Company. Each business features the names of her children in some format because they are the motivation behind all that she does. Welcome, Gabrielle. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Yes, I'm glad too. It's been a long time coming.
I know you've got the little ones there. You and I have that in common, the mompreneur piece. I just want to really commend you in terms of your creativity, watching Jayden's journey grow and seeing you expand your business, I think is really powerful, particularly in these times. So for you, was being an entrepreneur kind of what you knew you wanted to be when you grew up, or how did you get on this path?
I have both of my parents are actually entrepreneurs. So it's been something that's kind of been talked about since we were kids. My dad runs a DJ business that he's had for over 30 years, and my mom has had a string of businesses from daycare to interior design to you name it, she's done it.
Wow.
And so they've always just kind of taught us independence, not necessarily having to rely on someone else to feed your family, basically. And I think that COVID has kind of taught a lot of people that. You can't always necessarily rely on the corporate job. Not that there's anything wrong with having one, because I do have one.
Okay.
But you do have to, it's good to have multiple strings and not throw all your eggs into one basket. And that's something my mom has always repeated since I was a kid. So.
Awesome. And so is it your goal to fully transition to entrepreneurship, or do you think you kind of like the best of both worlds, or what's your trajectory?
My ultimate goal is that when my kids become of age, they don't have to worry about it at all.
Nice.
I don't know for certain when I will actually make the transition to go full-time entrepreneur, but I know that in the long run, I don't want my kids to have to worry about working 9 to 5 in any capacity. I want them to be able to take something on and leave something to them. So,
I got it. So give us some insight into the mental mama. I love what you're doing with your blog. Share with us just kind of the story there.
My goal behind that. So a little bit of background. My degree is in psychology.
Okay.
And I have a major focus, especially on, I like to focus on the African American community. There's a stigma with us when it comes to any form of mental health. What happens in your house stays in your house. Or, we don't talk about certain things because people in the medical profession may not believe us. Or may not take us serious. And so for that reason, you see a lot of issues with postpartum depression, specifically with African American women. You see just a lot of things that we don't necessarily talk about. And to be honest, and this is no shade to any parents, we're not even able to always go to our own parents and talk to them about our issues because they don't always take it serious. And
right, they shut us down.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. And that's something that I've had to have heart-to-heart conversations with my own mother about when I started blogging and I decided to write my book about my motherhood journey. One thing that came out with my parents was they said we didn't know half of this. And it was because I never talked to them about it. And so at a young age, I went through depression. I suffered with anxiety. I had issues with alcohol abuse because that was my go-to for my mental health issues. So I wanted to have an outlet there for other, not just moms. I mean, it focuses on motherhood, but I wanted another outlet for parents as well.
Sure. I love it. And that's the mentalmamajourney.com. Is that where we can kind of get the latest in terms of your blog?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. TheMentalMamaJourney.com. I love it. So share with us Sweet Jurni in a jar. So I've already, I've gotten the sample and beyond. But talk to our listeners about what you feature and so forth.
You said what I see. I'm sorry. You said what
Sweet Jurni in a jar. Yeah. What are some of your favorite desserts to prepare? Where can we find you and either order those desserts or pick some up?
Yeah, so we've been on a little bit of a hiatus. Normally, you could find Sweet Jurni at pretty much almost any local craft fair in Virginia Beach. We definitely do the farmers market once a month, which is in Virginia Beach off of Dam Neck and Princess Anne, I believe, is the cross section. But I've also, as of recently, started delivering my pans during COVID, since we're not able to be at the farmers market. So we have all kinds of fruit cobblers, strawberry cheesecake, apple cinnamon cheesecake. Banana pudding has been fan favorite since day one.
Wow.
It's one that I sell the most of. It's the one that I make the most pans of. I always get special orders for the banana pudding. And I'll be honest, I don't like bananas. And I'm a little biased, but I love my my banana pudding. My friend doesn't like bananas, and he'll eat my banana pudding. So it's definitely, like I said, at the top of the list. Ordering, generally, we have a Facebook page. It's Sweet Jurni in a jar, and so we take orders via Facebook, and we have some of our customer reviews, pictures. It's not even just desserts. We also do events. So I've done dessert jars for graduation parties, birthday parties. We have done baby showers. I've also done like a welcome home party for a husband that was returning home from the military. He's really into strawberry cheesecake. So instead of jars, we made the cheesecake in champagne glasses.
Oh, nice. So you offer sort of a custom dessert as well. I love that. Okay. And so we can place orders and find out about where you'll be with the desserts at Sweet Jurni in a Jar on Facebook.
That is correct.
Okay. Now, we got a new business in COVID too, Nori Lamar. What was the inspiration behind candle making? Were you making candles before, or is this something you started doing during COVID and just decided to offer it to the market, or how did that come about?
I'm a major connoisseur of candles. Not even just for burning them. Sometimes just the aesthetics or the look of the candle. Yeah. It fits good in with the decor. I have candles I've never even opened, but they just look good.
Yeah.
To me. But everything for me always ties back into the therapy piece. And so sometimes, talking is great, but you also have to find outlets or things to channel your energy into that are positive for you. And so for me, candle making is a form of therapy, just like baking my desserts is a form of therapy for me. It allows me to kind of go in and I take my frustrations out and I put them into my creations in my kitchen. With the candles, I wanted to do essential oil scents because essential oils generally help with things like anxiety. They help with headaches. They help with depression. So I didn't want to come out with scents like blueberry cinnamon. While that might be a great scent, again, I wanted everything to tie back into the mental health piece of things. Chamomile helps with insomnia if you suffer, if you're not able to sleep. My best friend suffers with really bad anxiety, which ultimately leads to her having insomnia. And so chamomile was a scent that when we were researching and she was kind of helping me out with this project, we were like, oh, wow, there's a lot of benefits to chamomile that we didn't really realize were there. We just think, you're drinking chamomile tea or, lavender smells really nice. But there's a lot of health benefits that come with that. And so I wanted to incorporate that into my candles, and it allowed me to do something that I'm not able to do with my desserts, which is actually distribute outside of a local level. And so I'm able to ship my candles all over the U.S. as opposed to with the desserts. It's just something I kind of do within the local 757. So it allows my business to grow a little bit more. And it's something that I do with every business that I do involves not just my kids' names, but my kids are very active in my creation process. I mean, my son is my taste tester. Him and my daughter for my desserts. My son also smells my candles and he'll say, "Oh, I like this one, Mommy," or "Ooh, I don't like this one, Mommy." And so they play a very big role in everything that I do business-wise. Yes.
I love that. Phenomenal story. So the candles are available on Etsy. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, how can we find them there?
So from Etsy, Nori Lamar Candle Co. is all one word. So you have to make sure you search it all as one search.
And that's NURILAMAR Candle Company, right?
Yes.
NURILAMAR Candle Company. And we can search that inside of Etsy. Is that right?
Yes, and we also just launched our Facebook page as well. Just as a direct link to the Etsy page.
Okay, what kind of responses have you been getting?
So right now, we've been open for about 3 weeks.
Okay.
And I'm up to, I think I've sold about 50 or so candles in the last 3 weeks.
Wow.
Which I wasn't expecting to do in the first 3 weeks. So I've been a little busy, but that was exciting. And thus far, we're up to 3 5-star reviews. And that doesn't include some of the reviews that I've got just by personal message, from people that have gotten them. And I try to screenshot those and put those out as well for those that aren't able to necessarily go on and make an Etsy review. But it's been pretty good. So much to the fact that when we first released, we were just doing mason jar candles. There was nothing special to them other than the scent, but now we've been able to update the look. We've increased the amount of essential oils that goes into the candles to give it a more lasting scent. And again, we just wanted to create like a unique look to the candles. Right now, we're just offering 8-ounce candles, but of course, the goal is to grow to offering in different jars, different colors. I'm looking at maybe like a frosted jar kind of look, more colorful jars, and adding on 8 more scents than what we have. We have 8 right now, so I would love to definitely grow because there's way more essential oils I haven't tapped into yet.
Well, let me just say I am going to place an order when we get off the line here. I am so excited. I want to thank you, and I certainly want to invite you to come back toward the end of the year. Would love to hear how your business is picking up. I'm excited for you. Again, the mentalmamajurni.com, Nuri Lamar Candle Co. on Facebook, NURILAMAR Candle Co., a Black business owner you can support today. So a huge thank you for coming onto the show today, Gabrielle.
Thank you for allowing me a chance to have a platform. That's really big in Black business. I think that having a platform where we can kind of speak about positively things that we are doing in our community is needed.
This will be available via podcast wherever you stream podcasts here in the next day or two. And again, thanks for tuning in to Black Wall Street today, where we're building minds, building connections, and forging the path ahead toward business success in the Black community. Look forward to talking next week.
Phenomenal. Stay with us online at Black Wall Street Today on Facebook and Black Wall Street Today on Instagram. And then follow us on Twitter as well at BWS Today. We look forward to talking again next week. Have a wonderful week. I have said and I will continue to say that the most important priority for the Black community is the Black community, not a particular political party. Phenomenal.
Hey, yo, when I say Black, you say Wall Street. Black Wall Street. When I say Black, you say Wall Street. Black. When I say Black, you say Wall Street. Black.
phenomenal.